Gentlemen, here's the harsh truth. Your wife might be cheating, and you have no idea. Forget the obvious signs. This is about the subtle, sneaky behaviors that most men completely miss. In this video, I'll reveal 7 subtle clues that could change everything you thought you knew about your relationship. These aren't just little red flags. They're warning signs you can't afford to ignore. So, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single moment of this. Drop your city in the comments too. Let's see where all the men who need to know this are tuning in from. Clue 1. The mysterious phone behavior. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you casually picked up her phone just to check on something? Maybe to look at the weather or answer a call that was coming through. And when you reached for it, did she pull it away, almost like she was protecting it? Sounds a bit strange, right? But here's the reality. If this is happening more than once, you've got a problem. Phones used to be something you both shared, but now it's like her phone is a locked treasure chest, and you're not the one holding the key. She's become hyper-protective over it, acting like it's an ancient artifact that needs constant guarding. What's worse, you might start to notice the signs without even realizing you're seeing them. Suddenly, her phone's always face down, or she's jumping up to leave the room when it starts ringing. It's almost as if she's going out of her way to make sure you don't see the screen. And here's the thing. This isn't about privacy. Privacy is one thing, but secrecy is something entirely different. And secrecy is a sign of guilt. There's a fine line, gentlemen, between someone valuing their personal space and someone actively hiding their actions. If she used to be open about letting you see messages, but now reacts like you're invading her space when you ask to look at her phone, you're not just dealing with a personal space issue. No, you're dealing with a cover-up. But let's dig deeper. Have you noticed how she suddenly has more work-related messages popping up, especially when she's at home? When you ask her who it's from, she waves it off with an excuse. It's just a client, or it's nothing, don't worry about it. But something's off. There's an edge to her tone that wasn't there before. She used to have no problem telling you exactly who is messaging her, but now she seems almost defensive when you ask. The more she keeps that phone tucked away, the more suspicious her behavior becomes. And if she's deleting texts or notifications faster than you can blink, you've got a problem. There's something she's trying to hide from you, and it's not just an innocent message from a friend. This is a sign of something far more serious. But here's the twist. This isn't just about her phone. Oh no, it's what she's doing when she's using it that matters most. The next clue? It's even more chilling. Wait until you see how she's been using work as an excuse to spend more time away from you. Clue 2. Sudden, unexplained, work late nights. There's a certain pattern that begins to form when a woman is hiding something, and it usually starts with the work late excuse. But here's the thing. It's not just the excuse itself that should raise alarm bells. It's the frequency of it. At first, she might come home late a couple of times, and you might chalk it up to the usual busy work schedule. But when this late-night grind becomes a regular occurrence, something's off. So let me break it down. When she says, "I'm staying late at work," what's her demeanor like? Is she upbeat and rushed, like she's genuinely got deadlines to meet, or does she sound defensive, as if she's almost waiting for you to question her? Watch her body language, because it speaks volumes. If she's acting more distant, distracted, or uncomfortable when she mentions staying late, it's likely she's hiding something more than just extra hours at the office. And what about when you ask for more details? If she brushes it off with vague responses like, "just some paperwork," or "I had to meet with a client," pay attention to how she reacts. A woman who's not hiding anything would be happy to share what she's working on. But a woman who's hiding an affair, or even just an emotional connection, will become defensive. "Why are you asking so many questions?" Or, "I'm not lying to you." Suddenly, she flips it onto you, making you feel like you are the one being unreasonable for simply asking a question. But it doesn't end there. Think about her consistency. How often are these late nights happening? Are they happening on the same nights every week? Maybe she's suddenly working late on Fridays, or maybe it's every other Wednesday. Consistency in these work late nights can easily reveal a pattern that has nothing to do with actual work. It could be a convenient excuse for her to meet someone else, or to simply enjoy time away from you. Here's where it gets trickier. She might tell you she's staying late at work, but her behavior at home tells another story. Have you noticed that she's acting colder or more distant? Maybe she's less affectionate, or she's more irritable when you try to engage her in conversation. These are the emotional signs that often come with the physical absence of work-late excuses. Something is being hidden, and it's not just the hours she's putting in. But the next clue might hit harder, because while she's working late, you might be left feeling completely left out. Stay tuned for what happens when she starts using these late nights to cover up even deeper secrets. Clue 3. Disconnection in affection. Let's talk about affection, or rather, the lack of it. This one's a real punch to the gut, because when your wife starts pulling away from you emotionally and physically, that's not just a sign of a rough patch. It's a red flag that can't be ignored. When she stops initiating affection, whether it's holding hands, kissing, or even just touching your arm when she walks by, you can feel it, can't you? At first, you might convince yourself it's just a phase. She's stressed, she's tired, but when it goes on for weeks, maybe even months, and nothing changes, it's time to face the uncomfortable truth. The warmth, the connection that once existed between you two has faded. And it's fading because her heart is no longer invested in the relationship the way it used to be. What's worse, she might start rejecting your attempts at affection. When you lean in for a kiss or try to hold her close, she pulls away. She might tell you, "I'm just not in the mood," or "I'm too tired." But deep down, you know it's more than just physical exhaustion. This withdrawal is about emotional distance. She doesn't want to be close to you, not in the way she used to. Her interest, affection, and even desire have shifted elsewhere. Now, let's talk about the excuses. They're always the same, aren't they? "I'm too tired," "I'm not feeling well," or "it's just not the right time." The more these excuses pile up, the more suspicious you should get. A healthy relationship thrives on mutual care and respect, but when one partner consistently refuses to connect, it's a sign that the bond is breaking. The lies might be small at first, but they compound into something bigger. She doesn't just stop wanting physical closeness, she stops wanting emotional closeness too. She withdraws from the simple everyday exchanges, the hugs, the good mornings, the genuine interest in each other's lives, and you start to feel it. The shift is subtle at first, but eventually, you begin to wonder, is this the same woman I fell in love with? That gap between you, filled with silence and avoidance, is growing wider and wider. It's a painful feeling, watching your partner emotionally check out, especially when you're still there, trying to salvage what's left. But here's the kicker. This lack of affection isn't just about her pulling away physically. It's the emotional withdrawal that's even more damaging. Next, I'll reveal how this emotional distance is part of a much bigger manipulation tactic she's using to keep you from realizing the truth. Clue 4. Emotional distance and deflecting questions. You've probably sensed it. She's pulling away. But it's not just physical affection that's fading, it's the emotional connection too. One of the most telling signs something's wrong is when she starts deflecting your questions and becomes less emotionally available. This isn't just a communication issue, it's a red flag that something deeper is going on. You might ask about her day, trying to spark a genuine conversation, but she gives you short, impersonal answers. "It was fine," or "nothing really happened." There's no excitement in her voice, no curiosity about your day. It's as if she's already emotionally checked out before you even open your mouth. When you try to talk about something meaningful, she changes the subject or gets defensive. You ask, "Is everything okay?" And she responds with, "Why are you making such a big deal out of nothing?" Or, "You're overthinking it." This is no coincidence. When someone who used to be open about their feelings suddenly starts shutting down, it's a sign they don't want to be vulnerable with you anymore. And that, my friend, is a dangerous shift. She's no longer interested in sharing her thoughts, fears, or dreams with you, because those conversations are now happening somewhere else. it gets worse when you try to address it directly. You bring up the growing distance between you two, and instead of talking through it, she turns the tables, accusing you of being too sensitive or too controlling. Suddenly, you're the problem for wanting to talk about what's going on. This is emotional manipulation at its finest. When she makes you feel guilty for expressing normal concerns, you end up questioning your own instincts. But what's even more unsettling is when she becomes increasingly hostile or disengaged whenever you press for more details. The more you try to connect, the more she retreats. The next clue? It's about how she starts using the "I need space" excuse to create even more distance. Clue 5. The overuse of "I need space." There's a phrase that's been creeping into your conversations more often lately. I need space. It's not a simple request for a little break. It's something more sinister, a sign that something deeper is going on, beneath the surface. When a woman says this, especially in the context of a long-term relationship, you can't just brush it off. This isn't just about needing a weekend to herself or taking a few hours to recharge. It's a sign that she's pulling away emotionally, and quite possibly mentally too. Now, don't confuse this with a natural need for alone time. Everyone needs a little space now and then, but when your wife suddenly starts using this excuse more and more, it's a big red flag. She used to enjoy spending time with you, but now, whenever you suggest doing something together, whether it's a quiet night in or a weekend getaway, she suddenly needs space. And it's not just the typical "I'm feeling stressed" explanation. It's a more profound, emotionally detached response that leaves you feeling more like a stranger than a partner. What makes it even more suspicious is the timing of these requests. They tend to pop up when you ask about her behavior or try to address the growing distance between you. You might notice her becoming more distant and less involved in your life, but when you ask about it, she responds with, "I just need some space. I've been feeling overwhelmed." This phrase is her way of shutting you down, of deflecting your concerns without addressing the real issue. You might think, well, she's just stressed out. It's no big deal, but it is. This request for space isn't about clearing her head for a day or two. It's her way of avoiding confrontation, withdrawing from any emotional responsibility, and keeping her distance. She doesn't want to face the truth, so she retreats into herself, leaving you to wonder if you've done something wrong or if you're simply being too clingy. What happens when you give her this space? Well, the more you pull back, the more she seems to pull away. At first, you might give her the benefit of the doubt, respecting her need for space. But soon, it becomes clear that this space is a growing emotional divide between you two. She's no longer interested in working on the relationship, and this is her way of keeping you at arm's length while she invests her time and energy elsewhere. But it doesn't stop here. Her request for space is just the surface. Wait until you see how she's been using this space to hide something even more dangerous. In the next chapter, I'll uncover how her friends start playing a key role in her alibi, and it's not what you expect. Clue 6. Friends become alibis. It's amazing how easily we can overlook the subtle ways people hide things. One of the most common and dangerous methods a woman uses to cover up her actions is by leaning on her friends as a shield. You've probably heard it before. "I'm going out with the girls tonight." On its own, it doesn't seem suspicious, right? Everyone needs a break. But when this becomes her go-to excuse for everything, it's time to start paying attention. You've noticed the pattern. She's suddenly spending more time with her friends than ever before, and it's not just the occasional get-together. Now, it's girls' nights that happen more than once a week. She spends entire weekends away, and when you ask for more details about what they did, her answers are vague. "We just hung out," she says, or "you wouldn't understand." There's a certain coldness to the way she says it, like she's pushing you out, not just physically, but emotionally too. Now, here's the catch. When you press her for specifics, her stories don't line up. One day she tells you they went to a bar, and the next, it was a movie. Her friends are always in the background, but their names and details seem to change with every conversation. There's a pattern of inconsistency, and no matter how much you ask, she gives you the same dismissive response. "Why are you so worried about it?" It's subtle, but it's a method of control. She's using her friends as alibis, creating a cover story that makes her actions harder to question. What used to be a simple girls' night is now a strategy to distance herself from you. The more she keeps these outings shrouded in mystery, the less you feel like you have access to her life, and when someone starts excluding you like this, it's a red flag that they're hiding something. The real kicker? She might even start getting defensive when you ask too many questions. "You're suffocating me," she'll snap, making you feel like the problem is your lack of trust. It's a brilliant tactic to shift the blame and put you on the defensive, while she continues to create emotional space and possibly meet someone else. But it doesn't stop with the girls' nights. There's more at play here, and it's something much darker that's been happening behind the scenes. In the next chapter, I'll reveal how these small lies add up to a dangerous web of deceit, one that's harder to unravel than you think. Clue 7. Little lies that build into bigger ones. At first, it starts small. A little white lie here, a slight omission there. You don't think much of it because everyone tells small lies now and then, right? But when these little lies start to pile up and become a regular part of her story, that's when you need to take a step back and really pay attention. This isn't about minor misunderstandings or harmless fibs. This is the beginning of a deeper deceit. What starts as "I'm going to the store" can quickly turn into "I was at the store, but I ran into a friend and we talked for a while." The thing is, you never knew about this friend before, and now, suddenly, she's everywhere. These kinds of small discrepancies are easy to dismiss, but after a few months, they begin to paint a picture. You start to wonder, how often has she been lying to me? Then, as these little lies begin to stack up, the story starts to fall apart. You might ask her about something simple, a date, a time, a plan, and her version of the event changes each time. One day she says she was with her friend Sarah, but the next time, it's someone else. The details don't match up, and even the smallest inconsistencies are enough to make you feel uneasy. It's more than just forgetting things or mixing up details. These are lies designed to cover up something. She's creating an alternate reality that you're not part of. And while the lies might seem insignificant on their own, the pattern becomes harder to ignore as they continue to grow. What's worse is that when you begin to notice these inconsistencies, she becomes defensive. If you ask her about it, she'll turn it around on you. "Why are you questioning me?" Or "You're imagining things," she might say. She deflects any suspicion, making you feel guilty for doubting her. But here's the thing about lies. The more she tells, the more she has to cover up. The problem with small lies is that they breed bigger lies, and eventually, those lies come crashing down. See you in the next video.